Number 8, Millie Quin.
Yeah, obviously it was, super challenging, especially when you're in it and, you're 14 and, leaving my parents whom, I'm a really family orientated person, and my family is super close. I have 3 younger brothers, so to leave them was, really challenging. And then fortunately they did make the move to Auckland, where I was at boarding school, and so I was able to kind of get out of that for a couple of years and live at home while I finished high school, and then obviously made the move to Berkeley, was there for a season, and just wasn't really what I was looking for, so obviously made the move to Tempe, and it's really been the best decision that I've ever made. But you do make a lot of sacrifices, and my parents and my family, they've also made a lot of sacrifices for me to have those opportunities and to be where I am today. So definitely something that I'm always thinking about and reminding myself when times do get a little bit hard. It's important to remind yourself of those things, and it's a real motivator, I should say, that not just myself but my family have given up a lot for me to have this life and to be able to have these opportunities. So
on just logistics, what was that like when you go from New Zealand over here to the States? I don't even know what that time change is, but how long was the jet lag to get over, and just the logistics of basically being polar opposite sides of the world?
Mm-hmm. It's actually not too bad. I would say the time zone and everything, I think right now we're only 5 hours behind. I mean, we're a day in front, but 5 hours behind. So it does take a little bit to adjust, especially being away from home, and you're not just a drive away. It's quite far, but from LA it's just one direct flight through the night. So you do get used to it.
Has it sunk into you yet that your name is etched in the record books here now as the program's all-time leading scorer?
Not really. Yeah, it's quite a surreal feeling, and something I really don't take lightly. It's a huge privilege, and I'm really grateful that I've been able to kind of leave my mark, hopefully, on the program. And it's something that I couldn't have done without this team, and without Petra giving me a lot of that confidence that I lost back my freshman year when things kind of didn't really plan out for me. So it does take a village, and I'm super grateful that I've had so many supporters and so many people around me that have allowed me to come into my own and really flourish in this environment.
What has it been like when you bring her here from Cal to see the career that she's had, and then to now etch her name in the record books?
She's been great from day one. You could see on her, even coming out of high school, and when I was watching her, and I was hoping to recruit her to come straight here rather than her little emitter. But you could see that she was something different. She wants the ball in her hand. She wants to dominate. She wants to be a leader. She wants to be the one to step up in those big moments. And the way that she's actually able to do it in games is because she does it consistently every single day in the water. And part of, I think, why the freshman are so competitive and so bringing this energy is because when they look around and they see a senior do it over and over and over again every day, no matter what. If it's 6 a.m. and it's February and it's still pitch black out here and it's freezing cold, she still does it.
And you were here, I believe, right, when Luca said it last time. So
yes.
Then to have her on the coaching staff now, and you set that record, what was that kind of experience like? A little friendly competition, I guess?
Yeah, it was really cool. Being able to see Luca do it herself. Back in my sophomore year, so I would say I really look up to her when I was playing here, and to have the roles reversed and now she's the coach. It's been nothing but her helping me. She's obviously the great assistant, so she continues to coach me on a daily basis, and it's been really really cool to be able to kind of take over from her, and I hope that someone in this team can also do the same.
When you look back on your Sun Devil career, what do you think will kind of stand out the most to you?
I think just the friendships and the relationships that you build here is something that will last with me for a lifetime. I've really been able to build a lot of connections, and I've been able to meet people all over the world with all of the internationals that are brought in, and a lot of lifelong skills I think that you also pick up being a student athlete is something that I think is so invaluable.